Here are two videos that might help you build a foundation for a greenhouse and the greenhouse. In this video, I'm going to provide some of you do-it-yourselfers, or people who have a difficult time finishing concrete, or really it's just something that you're just not interested in doing, with an idea on how you might be able to build a shed foundation without any concrete. And I think this is going to work just fine. Here we have an 8-foot by 8-foot floor, and it's sitting on top of gravel. And I would imagine any kind of gravel is going to be fine. I don't think I would get road base. You want to get gravel 3/4 inch, probably would be fine, 3/8 of an inch. You don't want any gravel with any sand in it. And I'm not saying that won't work. I'm just thinking it won't work as well for drainage. And you're basically going to build two frames, one frame on the bottom to hold the gravel and the other above that. And what this will do will allow water to soak through this area onto the ground and keep the wood for the frame nice and dry. Now, obviously in the wintertime, it's not going to be completely dry. You live in an area where it snows, this might not be the way to go. But of course, if you live in an area where it snows, you could have snow up against the shed, and that could also cause a variety of different problems. The shed might need to actually just be metal if that's the case. So here we have the gravel, kind of reverse build it here. Our little frame, you're going to need to level off the area here and then create a nice level box. And the whole theory behind this is that any moisture that is on the ground is going to be heading somewhere else. If you build your shed in a low spot, you might need to raise it higher up off of the ground if you're going to use this gravel method, or again, like I said, might not work. You're going to fill it with gravel, not too difficult, and put a box. Now the advantage here is you can just use 2x4s. I don't know why you would need to go any larger. You're going to have constant, every member here is going to be sitting on top of the gravel, or at least not spanning very far, maybe 6 inches, 12 inches, something like that at the most, in an area where it might not be touching the gravel. Put the plywood on top, and again, 8-foot by 8-foot, nice, no waste for your shed there. Another thing you can do for your shed will be to drill holes in the outside frame there for water drainage. I don't know if this is really going to be a big deal. The water should drain into the soil out from the gaps here. But again, and you could drill more holes, whatever you feel you need. If you have a frame that you build and you put caulking around everything and you bury it in the ground and you notice that this is filling up with water, then definitely going to need some type of holes here. View of it there. Again, the whole theory is that the water is going to drain through here and out safely away and keep your shed floor nice and dry. So here we have our stakes. You don't want to cover up the holes with your stakes. Not too difficult. A level frame built out of 2x4s. And if you're looking for a little more security, maybe something that's not going to rot, you live in an area where the water is going to have a little more water, you can always use treated lumber and treated lumber for your stakes also. And don't forget, you can always use metal. Use metal for your stakes if that's going to work out for you. And of course, we can always use larger lumber, 4x4s. And here I have the stakes on the inside. You can always put them on the outside. A lot of times it looks better if they're on the inside. And then if there's ever a problem, you're not going to be able to, if you don't have a wide enough area, you can always put the stakes on the outside of this if you're having problems with the stakes deteriorating or rotting. So here we have our holes in the 4x4s again. That might not be necessary. Treated lumber for the frame with maybe some heavy-duty stakes. Here we changed it to 2x4s. On the side, you can always have them around the front, and you can always have more of them. So something like this might require some longer stakes or even more of them. however you want to put it. Now, this is probably getting a little carried away. I got them 12 inches on center here on every board, but I'm just kind of throwing out an idea. If you're in an area where the wind blows a lot and you're worried about the shed blowing over, something like that, then you might want to put a few more stakes in. And again, you don't have to just run them around the perimeter. You can put them on the inside here. So I will leave it up to you whether or not you get carried away there. So if you're going to do something like this with the stakes, I don't recommend filling the gravel first. Build your frame, make sure that it's nice and level. Drive all of the stakes in. You don't want to be driving the stakes through the gravel. That just seems like a lot of extra work. Drive all the stakes that you're going to put in and then fill it with gravel. Another option would be to use 4x4s, or again, you can use larger wood. I'm just using 4x4s. I'm not under the impression that you're going to need heavy-duty boards for something like this because the gravel's going to keep the moisture away from the wood. I don't even know if you're going to need treated lumber for something like this. So again, the stakes and stuff, yes, this is going to depend upon the wind. You get a lot of wind. You want to build your shed in the back field of an open area where there's nothing blocking it and you get strong winds, you better figure something out to brace it to the ground a little, make it so that it's not going to blow away. And these stakes just might be exactly what you need to prevent that from happening. Now, I want to also point out that I put a 2x4 on the outside. This is just so that I could nail it into the 4x4s, make it a little easier. If you're going to use a 4x4 on the outside, knock yourself out. You just might need to use some type of building hardware, some hangers or some longer nails or screws, something like that. Now, if you're paying attention here, I changed this up. Instead of putting a 4x4 on the outside, I put a couple of 2x4s. And I actually built a shed or a planter in my backyard with this method. I think I built it about 4 years ago. It's still doing fine. So a little bit of the wood is rotted, but most of it is still looking pretty good. I did not use treated lumber for that. And again, I don't know if you would need to use treated lumber for this. I wouldn't think you would, but if you live in an area where any wood that's on the ground rots within a year or two, then you're going to have to get ground rated treated lumber. You're going to have to consider spending a few more dollars for something like this. And of course, the framing plates can actually lap over to where you can create a nice strong connection like that. And we have some stakes in the middle. And I don't know, cannot say for sure if something like this would prevent the 4x4s from moving up and down, if that would provide you with a lot of structural strength. And it might depend upon how long the stake is. If you drive a 2-foot stake in the ground here, you might have a lot of structural strength. And of course, as I said before, build the frame, drive all the stakes in the ground, then put the gravel in. And I also don't think it's going to be a problem if some of the gravel goes a little higher. I don't know if you need to fill the whole area up, but if you have it about an inch higher, that might provide you with a little more stability also. And that about wraps up everything I could think of at this moment in time for this particular video. So hope it helps. If this is something that you've done before, let us know. If it's something that you do eventually end up doing, then shoot me a picture. I do not use any of your pictures in my videos, in case you haven't noticed. But I always enjoy seeing and hearing from people who have done something, some of my video suggestions. I get a lot of comments from people who have used my information. Again, like this, I haven't seen this before. It's an idea that I've had, and I'm pretty sure I made a video on it, but I couldn't find it. Here is another project that I did at my house. Built my wife a greenhouse for her butterflies. There's one of her butterflies. And of course, this is a straggler here that got in there. And of course, we don't know how he got in. We imagine that he was eating the milkweed inside there. Now, she grows a lot of milkweed, and we have all sorts of problems with pests trying to get in there. So we just built this screened greenhouse. It's a light-duty greenhouse. You can see it's got tulle over it, just a fabric cloth. You can always use screening, regular screening they sell, aluminum screening for your windows and doors, stuff like that. And you can cover it even in wood if you want to, sections of it in wood. But I did build it. Her group, my wife has a group of people that are interested in this, that grow milkweed and are into butterflies. And so I thought I would put together some pictures, a video here, and even write a book. Now, here's kind of how it works. If you can look at the pictures and build it, great. Look at the pictures and build it. If you can watch this video and build it, go for it. If you need a little more help, then I did write a book. It's available at Amazon. It's available at Google, and it is available in a paperback also. Now, the thing I need to point out to those of you who might not be familiar with Amazon is that you need to make sure that you select the paperback instead of the Kindle edition when you're purchasing this. So that's it really in a nutshell. You can see here it's screwed together. And you're probably wondering, I guess, how much time it took me to build this. And for someone who knows what they're doing, maybe, you could probably build this in a day, if you're really going at it. I think I spent about 5 hours working on it one day, 5 hours the next day, and I think about 3 hours the next day. And that was, so I think I built the frame, assembled the frame. The next day I built the shelves. And then the last day I built the door, and then it probably took me and my wife about, I'm guessing, an hour to cover it with the tool. And we just stapled that fabric too. Now, we don't know how long the tool is going to last. Like I said, you can use the screening, aluminum screening, or use other materials, even chicken wire, if that's going to work well for you. And you can always use a combination. If you need to protect yourself from the raccoons and the screen's not going to work, then maybe use the chicken wire and the screening. Just make it to where you can make the repairs as easy as possible on yourself if they do. Like this right here. If we get a section of it that gets damaged somehow, we just go over it. We'll just go over it again with some tool or remove a section. It's stapled on. It's not going to be that difficult to fix. So anyway, go to the website, definitely check out the pictures, and if that looks like something you can do, go for it. And if you need a little more information, then definitely get the book.